What's going on, people? Welcome back to the match preview as we look ahead to the game against Brighton on Wednesday night. Massive game, rivalry, managers' job on the line potentially as well. So we'll be discussing that and more in this episode. As always, if you do enjoy it, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to not miss out on future Palace content. I'm joined by Patrick and AJ for this one. I'll start off with you, AJ. How you doing, bro?
Recovering from illness, but we're getting there, man. We're getting there. We'll be winning games again by the time I'm back. Don't worry about it.
Hopefully, man. Hopefully, we need to be winning games. Well, let's start off with just general Brighton chat. Look, we haven't lost against them since 2019 when we lost at home, which is quite a while back. I mean, we had Roy Hodgson as a manager. They had Graham Potter. Now we've had Vieira as well. So it's not like they've been beating us for quite a while now. But going into this game, let's be honest, we haven't had a shot on target in 3 consecutive games. It's quite bleak going forward, especially in attack. But we defended solidly against Man City. But does that unbeaten streak since 2019 give you confidence?
Yes, it does. Yeah, we did. The less spoken about yesterday, the more better, I think. Hopefully, with it being a midweek game and obviously having to think about Arsenal come next weekend, there'll be a couple of changes in the starting lineup. I've kind of followed a pattern with Vieira where when we do have a cluster of fixtures, he tends to change things around more often rather than not when we don't, in comparison to the fixtures we have. I've been encouraged with the points that we've got off the big boys in the past couple of weeks. Obviously, the Man City and Villa game didn't go well, and I know everyone's kind of in a negative space right now, but I think at some point something will have to click. I think even if we walk away with a decent performance and a draw, that would probably be enough for us in terms of where Brighton are in comparison to where we are on our journey. I do think there is a possibility to pick up a point there at Amex, and I do think that with these type of fixtures in mind, especially with the players, specifically more the likes of the Zahas and stuff in the squad, will be up for it as well. I think something we'll have to give at some point, and I think this potentially could be one of those games where it could be it.
Yeah. Look, it's a rivalry game, and it might be Patrick Zaha's last game for Palace in a game for Palace versus Brighton. So that's massive there. But look, let's be honest, we got battered at home. We did. We got very lucky to not lose that game. They created lots of chances, some very good chances, and missed them on another day. They would have finished them. So, Patrick, how are you thinking we should approach this game? Because for me, in the last game, we were missing a few players. We were missing the likes of Zaha, our most important player, especially in a game like this. I think Joachim Andersen might be out as well. But now we do have them players fit and ready. We do have Eze. We do have Wilf. We do have Anderson. So we do have a fairly strong squad. The core will be coming back. Do you think it's a case of we have to go out there and try to play for the win because we haven't played attacking football in such a long time that it's given this negative perception that we can't attack? Whereas I feel like it's the way we set up. It's not the case of we're just absolutely dreadful attacking. We're just too negative in the way we set up. We're looking to get points out of games rather than to go and win games. It sounds like a familiar manager that we had in the past. I understand it to a certain extent because we're trying to go through this difficult run of fixtures. But in a game against Brighton, I know they're doing well. Surely you have to go for it. Surely you have to beat them to bring the confidence back into the club, back into the fan base, to believe in a manager and to believe in this group of players.
See, I know what you're saying, D, but we haven't conceded more than 1 goal since the way back. I guess it was the Tottenham game. So defensively we've been playing fine. Yes, we need a goal. But my fear is if we go gung-ho against a team like Brighton, it could go really, really poorly and could see 3-4 goals. Clearly, we need to be able to score a goal at some point. So to go gung-ho, I don't think that works. Changing up a little bit, I have no issue with. So you mentioned before about the last game. The last game we played, then we had Tompkins and Gehi, as I said, the defensive pairings, and now we obviously have Anderson, which is an upgrade, even though Tompkins scored the goal and played quite well in that game. We had Olise, Ayew, Schlupp, and Mateta up front. That has to change. For me, you don't have to go gung-ho, but if you just play Edouard, it's going to shock you. Play Edouard, Olise, Ayew, and Ahamada, I think we're better off. I'd like to see Ahamada play in that Conor Gallagher role in the 8 role and
Let
just
me
press.
stop you there. Where's
Sure.
Wilf? Where's Wilf? Where's Wilf?
I said Wilf on the outside. I said Wilf.
Oh,
Did I
okay.
say Wilf and Olise? Sorry, Wilf, Olise, Edward, and Ahamada. No, that doesn't work.
Yeah. Now he's out of the picture. Yeah,
Okay.
because I was a bit
Yeah,
confused. I was like,
sorry.
you said
Sorry,
this
sorry,
is going
sorry.
to shock me, and he genuinely
Yeah.
did shock me. I was not waiting for you to take Wilf out of the lineup against Brighton. I was like,
No.
what?
So again,
You're gonna
I'll
keep
say it
Ayew
again.
there,
Sorry.
but Wilf
So
out.
it's Olise, Ahamada, Wilf, and with Edward up top. So obviously, it's no Eza. There's no Ayew. So the reason I'm thinking about that is that I really was impressed with Ahamada in the game against City. I love the way the kid presses. I like the energy that he has. I think you put Decore and Lokonga behind them. You got 3 players that kind of press resistant, get the ball forward, look for those spaces. I don't think it's a gung-ho way to go. I think, you're not really going gung-ho, but I think that it gives us a little solidity with having Lokonga and Decore, but you got guys up front that can score. Our big issue now is scoring goals. That's our issue. We're not conceding a lot of goals. We can get 1 goal, maybe we can hold on to, maybe get 2, but I just don't think we can go all out. So playing Eze, as much as I love him, I really would prefer to see Ahamada in there. I just think it gives us something a little bit different. Not that I have anything against Eze, but I think just going that way is better. Going gung-ho against Brighton to me would be suicide.
Yeah, but look, I understand where you're coming from about attacking problems, and I 100% agree. Look, we're not scoring enough goals, but we're also not conceding that many goals. I think we're very good defensively, but our problems are in attack. Let's not act like we didn't keep City at bay as much as we can, and if it wasn't for that penalty, now we might be talking about a clean sheet against a side that has Kevin De Bruyne coming off the bench, that has one of the best forwards, if not the best forward in the whole world, and we kept them quiet. With the likes of Nathaniel Klein at right back, and even though Tyreek, he's been hit and miss sometimes this season, he was playing at left back. Look, I mean, we haven't got the greatest of defenders, but we know how to defend as a team. So where my problem lies is the fact that this team can attack, but Vieira did change it about that people don't talk about. He went for the 4-2-3-1. He went for the more defensive-minded approach, and that has cost us in attack. So for me, if we went to like a 4-3-3 with some of these attacking players, and if we went more pressing towards them, we've done it in the past against Brighton. Don't forget, we've done it at their ground last season. I know we had Gallagher then, but so it'd be like Edward up front, Wilf out wide on the left, Olise down the right-hand side, Eze or Ahamada as a number 10. You have Decore and Lokonga in the middle, and then defense is the defense with, Kleiny, Anderson, Gahey, and Mitchell. But I'm talking about, I'm talking about the formation change. I think the formation, people talk about the players, the personnel, I understand it, but I think the formation and the attitude change. I'd rather we go and press them, give them a bit of a shock, because they think that we're going to go back there and sit like we did in the first game, which we have been doing for a few months now. But if you go back to the 4-3-3, me and T spoke about in the Palace News, when we're talking about why can't we score more goals, we've actually scored more goals with the 4-3-3 that we played in limited amount of games, less games than the 4-2-3-1 this season. And there's no coincidence for that, because that formation and how we approach the game with that formation gives us more confidence in attack. And I'm telling you, if we go with that formation, we are having way more than one shot on target. I think it's more about the formation and approach mentality rather than the personnel.
So before AJ jumps in, my point is we talked about the same thing. My only thing is that you're talking about a 4-3-3. I'm talking about 4-2-3-1. My point is we've been good defensively because we've had 2 sitting midfielders in front of our back 4 to release one of them, which you can do. You can release the Conga to get high up the pitch and let the Corey sit. That's fine. But you could have a Hammer that played the Gallagher role. Remember the game last year? Look how well Gallagher played. He was pressing, but he needs someone up there to help him press. I don't know what the difference between what you said and what I said. My only thing is that I don't want to go gung-ho. I don't think it's a good idea to go gung-ho away at Brighton. We can see 2 early goals. We're done because we can't score. We keep it tight and press, and maybe, obviously, when the reason why you press is to win the ball higher up the pitch. If you can do that and score a goal, maybe you can hold on to it as opposed to. So I'm not really sure what the difference is between what you said and I said. I know what you're saying, but I don't think a gung-ho attacking approach works because we can't really score necessarily. But
I think my approach is the formation change and the whole mentality. Look, we're saying it doesn't work. It didn't work earlier on in the season because we had Jeffrey Sharp playing in that role. We did, and he's not that type of midfielder. He's playing as the Lokonga role. I think with Lokonga there, and if you play the likes of maybe a Hamada, I think them plays should be better in terms of pressing and being more comfortable on the ball. So look, I would like us to go for a different approach. And that's the biggest question going into this game. But for you, AJ, do you think he will make them changes? Because of course, there's a worry that, as Patrick said, if we do go more attacking, it could also cost us in defense, and we might end up losing the game 2-3-0. But what do you think he will do?
I would. It's a hard question, to be fair. I would like him to do. Actually, I think both of you are pretty much on the money in terms of what the formation should be. However, historically and recent history has showed us that that's not particularly what the manager will do. The only argument I would probably suggest is with the Lokonga and the Kore element is it protects the back four on the counter a lot better than anything we've had historically, especially over a Schlupp or over even a Hughes or a Luca, to be fair. So I think I would actually be pretty happy if we had Lokonga, because obviously the Kore is going to be more fresh because obviously he's come off suspension and the rest. So I'm actually agreeing with you guys. I think, yeah, we should probably go with that type of formation. Whether it be Ahamada or Eze, I don't know, because I feel like there's a part of Eze's game that needs to be pushed or unleashed a little bit. And I mean, is this the perfect game for it? Because to an extent, he's going to understand from a fan base perspective and from a club perspective. He's been around a decent amount of time for him to know and understand that. So that's where I would ask the question. Maybe it is time to unleash Eze, because at some point something's going to have to give. And I'd even put that argument and debate down to Edouard as well.
Yeah. Look, I agree. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below. How do you think Vieira should approach this game, and some of the players as well that haven't been playing as often? Do you think he will make them changes in this game? Patrick, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that is what we mentioned in the last preview about Patrick Vieira. Do you think this could be his last game if he loses it?
I think it really depends on how we play and what the result is. If we get battered 3-4-0, I think it could be the end for Vieira. Don't want it to be, but it could be. I think if we get a point, it won't be. And obviously, if we win, it obviously won't be. I think it really depends. I would really hope that the board sees that the fixtures have been really, really tough. Yes, we haven't scored enough goals. I agree with that. Yes, he's been stubborn at times. I agree with that. But defensively, we played well. We haven't given up in any game. I mean, like I said, Fulham and Spurs have been an aberration. Every game we've been in, it's been a one-goal game, and we've either gotten a point or we've lost by a goal. But if we were to get bad, I think it could be a problem. You made a point yesterday. The World Cup, international break is in 2 weeks. So after Arsenal, there's a big break. That's when you normally see managers get changed, because a new manager can come in and implement something different. My issue is, we talk about it over and over again, who replaces him? I cannot think of a reasonable replacement. Yeah, you can throw out names and all you want. Oh, Bielsa or Marsh or whomever. But to me, there's not a real option. It's not going to be, it's not going to be Sean Derry. I mean, people have said that. I've seen that on Twitter. I've seen people in our comments make that. We fell off since Sean Derry. I love Sean Derry, but that's not the reason why we're not winning matches. So could it be Paddy McCarthy? I mean, that's another massive, reach by the club. So again, could it be his last match? Absolutely. I'm really hoping that it's not.
Yeah, for me, I agree. I don't know who would come in, and for me, the problems are just bigger than Patrick Vieira. But of course, when you have to think about financially, we know we like to go with the cheaper route all the time. I guess if you sack him, then there's a compensation that needs to be paid, and I guess the price, you have to compare the price of that compared to relegation. I think they'll rather pay. If they don't believe in him, I think they'll rather get rid of him. But for you, AJ, Patrick said that it could be a possibility. But as a fan, would you want him gone if we was to lose to Brighton?
I'm probably way more on the scale of keeping him and seeing this project through. I think that's always the way I felt about it, to be fair. And I feel like he still does have a presence and an influence to an extent, but certain games and selections haven't helped him. I do agree with Patrick in terms of who's this next candidate that people seem to have in their head. The problem with the keypad warrior man and the people that always have an opinion is a lot of people have an opinion or a view, but a lot of people don't always have a solution to that opinion or view. So there's a lot of that kind of going behind it. I think depending on the result against Brighton, because we know Brighton are kind of playing the best football they've played in a very, very long time. So we're not going into no average looking Brighton side. Like, this is a Brighton that we played 2, 3, 4 years ago. This is a serious Brighton team that are doing serious Brighton things. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, mathematically, they are very much in European contention, especially if they win their games in hand.
Top 4. That's a mad thing.
Hey,
top 4.
Listen, mate. Listen, results don't lie. But
we need to make sure that don't happen.
I personally want to see the project being followed through, and they have to back the manager with that. And I'm sorry, you have to kind of look at the whole structure of the club. Is Vieira completely at fault here? He has to play his part in the percentage, but if we're looking at a big, massive pie chart, he's only holding a quarter for me. You see what I'm saying? So we have to kind of, before he's properly backed, I'm not really kind of aggressively against him in that way. I feel like he just needs to be supported a bit better, man, and he needs a better structure above board, or more importantly, above whatever's going on inside the club. I do think there is obviously some kind of miscommunication or disarray somewhere across the line, but at the same time, if the man lost the rest of the games for the rest of the season, then obviously there's another question there. I think we just need to start seeing some kind of, we've managed to pull off certain, he's selected certain teams against certain teams over the past couple of months, and he's whipped out certain selective draws, and obviously there's been defeats, but the wins have to come with that. That's the only way he's going to cut out the criticism if he starts picking up results here and there. And Brighton would even put me in a position where I would really struggle to defend him. I would really, really struggle with it, to be fair, because at that point, where are these points coming from? Or where are we going to start picking up wins? You know, I'm not stupid. I'm a Crystal Palace fan. I don't expect us to win every week. But there does need to be some kind of improvement in some areas of the pitch, and there does need to be some kind of something for us to get excited for and something for us to build on. And no, the past 3 games, no shots on target is a terrible anecdote to kind of look at when we're looking at where we are as a football club. But at the same time, I don't know, man. I just don't understand where we need to be in the Premier League right now. I feel like we need to be doing better than what we are. But then, are we a top half table club? Are we a European chasing club?
I don't know. Not with these. I think potentially we could be, but there's also another thing. Look, for me, I think my position is clear. I've said this many times. I'll still like Vieira to stay. Of course, it depends on how the Brighton game goes, but I think that's why the Brighton game is so important. If we have another game with no shots on target, it gives the board and the fan base a valid reason. Like, this is just simply not good enough. That's like 4 games without a shot on target. And that's why I feel like we need to go for it. Even if you concede 2 goals and score 2 goals, that gives you a bit of belief. Like, even if you get a point against Brighton like that, it gives you a bit of belief. Look, we change it up. We're scoring goals now. Fantastic. And I feel like if we're just negative again and we end up losing again 1-0, that's not going to be good enough. And I think it's tight margins. If you're talking about a guy's job on the line, I feel like he has to go for it. He has to go for it to, you know, and show what he can actually do. Because now, I don't think he's got exactly the players that he needs. I feel like we still need to improve the squad. But in midfield, there's an improvement there in terms of Lokonga. We praised him even against Man City. So there's an improvement there. Wilf is back. Eze, of course, is back. And Hamada, there's options to select from. So really, there's no excuse to not go for it. Apart from the fact that it's Brighton and they're playing well. But then again, if your job is on the line and you sit back and you know that Brighton will destroy you like that and create chances, I mean, is it going to really help you anyways? It's looking at both coins. But for me, let's just survive this week. As someone who wants Vieira to be, like, if you can survive this week with Brighton and Arsenal, April is massive for him. April is massive. He's got a 2-week international break if he does survive this week to get the players focusing again, to get them going, and maybe some players go international break, take their minds off things. We come back and we've got a good run of games, and that's where I think his job is really on the line. But let's see what the board think anyways. And I know some of you guys want Vieira out even today, but we'll see what happens after the Brighton game. But talking about the league table and where Palace should be finishing, let's talk about that right now. So pre-game week 27, Palace currently sit 12th in the league, and if we win, this is based on the results on Saturday. Of course, because of the tight turnaround, we haven't got much time to record these previews. So Sunday games ain't included in this. But if we do win and beat Brighton, we'll still remain 12th. Shock there. If we draw, potentially go down to 15th. And if we lose, it might be the first time that we could drop down to 17th. Now, are we concerned about the potential of relegation if we was to lose this game, Patrick? Is this a game where if we used to lose it, drop down to 17th or 16th, would you be like, nah, things are getting more serious?
No, because that's obviously a thought that's already out there. I mean, even the manager brought it up during his press conferences before and after the match. So is it? I mean, clearly we're the team from 12th down. I mean, us down are going to be in it because there's a 6-point gap between 20 us and the team in at the bottom. So it's a concern. But like I said, I mean, you make a good point, D. We have to try and get past these next 2 matches and then see what happens, whether they stick or twist, whether they decide to get rid of him and bring someone to international break and work with the players or not. To me, you stick with him regardless, because like I said, it's not like it's a disaster. Now, I want to talk about, you just mentioned before about we should go for it. Now, let's all go back a few years ago when Alan Pardew was manager. We go to Swansea, we get beat 5-4. How do you feel about that game?
No, but that's different. That's different.
No, I'm just saying, though.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, though. We go out, all guns blazing, go up 4-3, give up 2 late goals, lose 5-4. Is that gonna make you feel better about Vieira because he went for it, or would you rather? You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
But Patrick, he can't have another game. He can't have another game with no shots on target. And if he sets up like this, there's a very good chance that happens.
I didn't say that. My point is, let's keep it tight, like we did against Brentford. Get a goal as opposed to going. We're not a team that can go to try and win a game 5-4, 4-3. You know what I'm saying? I know you want. I'm not saying don't get shots on goal.
We don't have to, but we never. Even last season, we didn't have results like 4-3. When we did go for it with the high pressure, I'm not saying literally have no defenders go 0-5-4 or 5-5. I'm not saying have no defenders go all out blazing. Right. It's literally just it's the mentality approach. It's the press and try to win the ball back at higher positions of the pitch. I
get that. But my point is that when Pardew was in, and I remember we were all fighting Pardew. That game, I don't know. That game turned everybody away from Pardew. Everyone was like, he's got to go. And from that point, there was no turning back. And my biggest fear is that, a lot of the fan base want him out now. But that was to happen again, a 5-4 type loss. That's much worse than losing again 1-0. Because at least 1-0, in your head, you can kind of say, okay, yes, we want to get shots on goal. Yeah, I totally agree. If we were to lose 1-0, it's Brighton. It's the rivalry, so it's going to get toxic either way. But to go out and lose, or worse, 4-0 like we did against Tottenham, or or the 3-0 against Fulham, I don't think that works.
The approach, Tottenham will just the same.
No, I know. I understand your point. I'm talking about the score. I know what your approach is. I totally agree. The approach has to change. I'm not saying that, but I'm also saying I think a really bad result, meaning a lot of goals conceded, is worse than like it was yesterday where we lost to 1-0. Yes, it wasn't great, but we were in the match, 75th minute, gave up a silly penalty. Do you know what I'm saying? That mentality shift is important for me. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't try and score a goal. I'm not saying don't change the mentality, but I'm also saying to go gung-ho or to go, to me, that doesn't work. Like, is it an important match for the manager? Either way, of course it is. And of course, I want to win the game. I think we have to win the game. But I'm just saying, I still think the approach has to be somewhat conservative, because if it's not, we risk getting destroyed by our biggest rival, and that doesn't end well.
Yeah, look, let us know what you guys think about the approach anyways. How do you think Vieira should approach this game? Because, of course, it's not like we're the only 2-3 people that still have a bit of belief in Vieira. That there are some people still out there that don't want him gone as much as there are people that want him gone. So let us know what you guys think. But AJ, let's quickly talk about some of the Brighton threats. So in the last 5 games, they've only won 2 games. It's not like they've gone 5-game winning streak, absolutely destroying everyone. They drew against Leeds this weekend. They beat West Ham 4-0. They lost against Fulham 1-0. They drew against us without Wilf and Anderson. They beat Bournemouth 1-0. So they've been unlucky in some of those games, yes, but it ain't like we're facing Arsenal or Man City. Let's just say that. There is also a chance that we can beat them. But in terms of the personnel, we was worried about Mitoma. The last time we faced him, I remember in the preview, we were talking about Mitoma, and I thought Klein done a decent job against him. McAllister's another threat as well. Caicedo. For you, let's start off with Mitoma. I think Klein struggled against Grealish, but I don't think Mitoma is on Grealish's level yet. But in terms of their personnel, who sticks out for you the most?
Actually, do you know what? I'm going to go... I think Mitoma. for sure. He's unavoidable. Consent was his name? Consent, whatever his name is. Not really fussed
Caicedo, yeah.
about him because we got the Corey back, so that's not an issue. The only thing I'm hoping is McAllister can keep him locked. Sorry, not McAllister. Yeah, the Corey can lock out McAllister. That will be the big test for that game because I feel that, and Brighton fans will hate this, and I don't care. But at the end of the day, I feel like McAllister's probably pining for a move to a bigger club anyway. So those are the big threats. One thing that cannot be ignored is actually how solid Brighton's defence has been this season. Lewis Dunk has been very, very solid this season, and it burns me to say it. But I think as much as their attacking threat is
England, but it's fine. It's still not going to play for England, is he? I mean, they can still sing about it for years. They can try and make him. They think Lewis Dunk is what Mark Gay is, but he ain't that guy.
Put it this way, we are not in a position to be mocking any Brighton players right now, bro. That's what I'm saying about that. But
Gay, he is still performing well. I can still talk about Lewis Dunk versus Gay because I've had this debate before.
I'm not biting.
Player ahead of
I'm not biting.
I'm still taking Gay.
I'm not biting. It's not the right time. But I think it's a defense that is actually something to sort of kind of be concerned about, to be fair, because if we're not organized in an attacking concept of things, then they will pretty much keep us locked out. And then when we played them and we got the draw, it was only that their bloody slippery fingers goalkeeper kind of gave it up for Tompkins to be able to sort of tap that one in. So I think if they kind of tighten up at the back a little bit and kind of revert back to that in the previous fixture, then we may have to be concerned about that. I think as long as we get the attacking threat correct in this game, and that is positionally as well as obviously team selection, then actually we could break them down quite quickly because there have been a few mistakes and chinks in the armor that I've spotted in the past couple of games for Brighton. Matoma is a bit of a threat, but he's gone a bit hot and cold all of a sudden. He's calmed down a bit. Like he's not that one. It's McAllister. It's actually their centre midfield essentially that I'm worried about. That's the only thing that I sit there and I think, like we need to be on point. But if Lokonga and Decore both start and both play against them, then obviously that'll be the most interesting matchup in the game, and that'll be the biggest threat in the game for me. I'm not fussed about Matoma. He's not gonna. He is their biggest threat since the turn of the year, but. It's the midfield where I think the battles will be won, and the battles will be sort of contested on that game.
Yeah. Look, let's move on to score prediction. Unless Patrick, you want to add any other thing about Brighton?
Actually, I'm looking at the defensive stats. They actually have only conceded 31 goals, but we've conceded only 33. We've actually got almost good a defense as they have. The problem is they scored 45 goals. We scored 21. So the issue is actually that, as he says, we got to get shots on goal because if we can keep it tight, their defense is about as good as ours, which is interesting. But they can score, and obviously we have a major problem with that. So,
but then Patrick, doesn't that not go on to your point? Sorry, Patrick, doesn't that not go into your point about the games that we're losing? When we are losing, we're not getting battered 5-0. We're not getting battered 4-0. We're losing the 1-0. We're losing the 2-0.
They're also not getting chances because there's no balance. I think it's too defensive. That's a problem. It's too defensive. There needs to be a balance. But yeah, I think that's where our problem lies right now anyway. So sorry against City. I get it's City at home, but we're not attacking as a team. We're trying to rely on individuals again. And that's not the Palace that I know under Vieira, especially last season when we was attacking as a team. You saw the runs in midfield or wide players and stuff. But right now, it's just like hoofing the ball up there and trying to hope for the best. And that is, we can't be doing that approach for much longer because we won't get any more shots on target. But let's move on to the best and maybe the worst bit of the show because we got we have to predict about score predictions against Brighton. But I'll start off with you, AJ, quickly. How do you see this one going?
Amex on a Wednesday night. I think it's going to be 1-0.
1-0?
I think it's going to be 1-0. I'd like a victory. I'd like a little sneaky 1-0 tap-in volley. Even though they've dominated the game, that'd be hilarious again. But I think we'll get a 1-0 on that one.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna go for a 2-1 Palace win. I think there's goals coming. I feel like the way Vieira spoke about it after the game, you could tell that we need to create more chances. like he's even said it, and he knows the problem now. It's not like we're creating chances. We need to create more chances, and I feel like he's going to go for it, and he's going to have more attacking plays. So I feel like it's going to be the players are going to be up for it. Wolf is playing. Hopefully, we'll have a few more attacking plays that we want to see play in, and give them a shock. I'm going for a 2-1 Palace win away from home. And hopefully, come Wednesday night, we're here with the live match reaction, talking about a win after like 3 months. I don't know what a win feels like at this point. It'll be good to experience it again. It's been quite a while since I experienced it. But Patrick, for you, how do you see this one go? We got a draw, win, and
again, if you're tuning into the show to listen to my predictions, you're wasting your time, which is, I feel sorry for you. My head is like AJ. I'm thinking 1-1. The last 4 have been 1-1. The last 3 have been 1-1, and 4 of the last 5 have been 1-1s. But because 1, it's a rivalry and you kind of throw stuff out the window, and 2, it's a massive game for Vieira, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win like you did, because I think he has to win this match. So I'm going to go 2-1.
He has to win this match, and hopefully we go for it, and we finally see the old Palace. A bit of the old Palace. That's all I want to see. A Palace that's actually a threat going forward, as well as balance. Like we might concede a few chances, but it's not like we're be losing the game. 3 or 4. That's the one. We'll see how that happens. But let's do the section down below. How do you see this one going? I'm expecting a variety of results, in all honesty. I don't know how people are thinking. I know someone's going to say 7-0 Brighton. I know that's going to come up. I know someone's going to say probably like 2-0 Palace. It's just the mood. The mood around the fan base right now is wild. It's wild. Right? But yeah, you guys have been leave a like and subscribe to not miss out on future Palace content. Thank you to Patrick and AJ for joining. And thank you to watching as well. We will be back for more Palace content as we lead up to the game. And until next time, up the Palace.